Hello again, everyone. It's JJ, also known as Bion King, here on YouTube. I thought I'd bring you another deck tech. Today's deck tech is going to be Commander. So today's Commander is Patron of the Orochi. So Patron of the Orochi is a 7/7 for 8. Snake Offering. You may play this card anytime you could play an instance by sacrificing a snake and paying the difference in mana cost, and from the sacrifice state, snake mana cost includes color. So say you get rid of like 2 green snakes and they have double green. So that, but in this deck there's no snakes. I have them for the second ability. So untap all forests and all green creatures. Play this ability only once each turn. So what? So when you tap him, it says all green creatures. So you get to untap him as well. So that's why it doesn't say. That's why it says only once each turn. Because if you were able to do it all the time, that's infinite mana right there. But what this deck is it's a lot of mana ramp. So that's why I have him as the commander. So let's go on to the lands. So we have Blighted Woodland, so tap to add 1 to your mana pool or pay 4, sack this, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them on the battlefield tapped, and shuffle your library. So this is an explosive vegetation on the land. So there's that. Then we have Spawning Bed, add 1 to your mana pool, sack this, put 3/3/3/1/1 colorless Eldrazi, Scion, creature tokens on the battlefield, sack, add 1 to your mana pool. Each one of those has that. Majoring Network, add 1 to your mana pool, pay 1, tap this, put a storage counter, and then remove X storage counters, add X to your mana pool. So, like I said, a lot of mana ramp in here, and you'll see why. Then we have Reliquary Tower, no max hand size, add 1 to your mana pool. Rogue's Passage, add 1 to your mana pool, 4, tap, target creature can't be blocked this turn, and then the reason why we have a lot of mana ramp is Eldrazi Temple. We're not completely Eldrazi tribal, but what we have are kind of the bigger evil Eldrazi. So anyway, add 1 to your mana pool or add 2 to your mana pool. Spend this only to cast colorless Eldrazi spells or activate abilities of colorless Eldrazi. Then Sanctum of Ugin, add 1 to your mana pool. Whenever you cast a colorless spell with converted mana cost 7 or greater, you may sack and search for a colorless creature. And then if you do, you reveal and put it into your hand. And we got Mossfort Bridge, so Hideaway. Hideaway is you look at the top 4 cards, and then you exile 1 face down. Underneath this, preferably, that way you know which one, and then you can add green to your mana pool, and then if your creatures have power 10 or greater, you may cast that card without paying its mana cost. And then we are running a total of 40 lands, so we're running... Sorry, I gotta count this real quick. We're running... 8 non-basics, so that means we're running 32 forests. So kind of on the bigger side with forests and all that and stuff. I mean, monocolored decks, my monocolored decks are always heavier on the others. So yeah. Then we got Nissa Worldwaker as our only Planeswalker, so pay +1, target land you control becomes a 4/4 elemental creature token. Or elemental creature with trample, still land, pay 1, untap up to 4 target forests, and then -7, search your library for any number of basic land cards put on the battlefield, and then they are 4/4 elemental creatures with trample, and they're still lands. I managed to kill an opponent with like 20 lands with trample, so yeah. Now on to our sorceries. We have Beacon of Creation. So sorry it's in a foreign language, but I searched up the foreign language cards before I did this video. So Beacon of Creation, you put a 1/1 green insect onto the battlefield for each forest you control. So if you have all your mountains, the max you can get is 32 insects, and you get to shuffle that into your library after you're done. We got Kodama's Reach, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards of reveal, and then put 1 on the battlefield tapped and the other into your hand, and then shuffle your library. So basically, whenever you search your library, shuffle. We got Ranger's Pass, search your library for up to 4 forest cards, put them on the battlefield tap, shuffle. Explosive Vegetation, search your library for up to 2 basic land cards, put them on the battlefield tap, shuffle. Now on to our, well, let me get the other one. We got a Sky Shroud Claim. Search your library for up to 2 forest cards, put them to play, then shuffle your library. One moment. Sorry about this skip. There's some people talking in the background, and I don't want you guys to hear that. They're kind of arguing. So anyway, then we got Nissa's Pilgrimage. Search your library for up to 2 basic forest cards. Reveal them. Put one on the battlefield tapped. Rest into your hand. And why it says rest is because if you have Spell Mastery, so you have 2 sorceries or instants, or a sorcery and an instant into your graveyard, you may search up to 3. So if you do, you put 1 onto the battlefield tapped, and then 2 into your hand if you have Spell Mastery. And then we got Nissa's Revolution, scry 5, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature card, you draw cards equal to its power and gain life equal to its toughness. So that's why we have the Reliquary Tower, because everything in here is quite big, like a really big creatures. Then we got Overwhelming Stampede. Until end of turn, creatures you control gain trample, get +X/+X, where X is the greatest power among creatures you control. And the greatest power, I believe, is 12. So they could possibly get +12/+12. So anyway, then we got Scour from Existence, only instant, exile target permanent. So there's that. Now on to our artifacts. We got Hedron Archive. Tap to add 2 to your mana pool, pay 2, sack, draw 2 cards. One of our mana ramps. And then our other mana ramp, Stone Hedron, tap, add 3 to your mana pool, 3, sack, draw 3 cards. And then our last one, which really helps out, Sword of the Animus. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. Whenever it attacks, you may search your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle your library. And then the rest kind of just help out. We have Darksteel Plate. Darksteel Plate is indestructible, and equipped creature is indestructible. Loxodon Warhammer. Equipped creature gets +3/+0, trampled and lifelink. And then Blade of Cells. Equipped creature has Myriad. Myriad is whenever it attacks target person, token goes and attacks each other person. So there's that. So, yeah, like I said, if you watch my other videos, why I'm kind of going quicker and faster in explanations is because my phone only gets to a certain point, and then it's like, oh, nope, sorry, no more recording for you. So I kind of really want to get these done. Now, let's go on to our enchantments since I got that out of the way. We got Vernal Bloom, so another foreign card. Forests, whenever you tap them, they produce an additional green. So with Patron the Orochi and basically a bunch of forests and this, you can like say you have 4 forests, you can tap all 4, add 8 to your mana pool, tap him, untap him, and then add another bunch up to 16 from just 4 lands and this and him. So there's that. And I'll just move Patron out of the way. And we got From Beyond. So Devoid, at the beginning of your upkeep, put a 1/1 colorless Eldrazi Scion with sack, add 1 to your mana pool. And then you can pay a green and regular, sack this, search your library for an Eldrazi card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. Like I said, we're not completely Eldrazi tribal, but we do have some evil Eldrazi in here. We're more heavy creature tribal. And when I mean heavy creature, I mean ones to where their power and toughness are really, really big. Okay, anyway, we got Bonds of Mortality next. So, enters the battlefield, draw a card. Pay green, creatures your opponent control lose hexproof and indestructible until end of turn. That really helps out. Then we got Sighted Scale Lords. We get in combat on your turn. Creatures you control with toughness 4 or greater get +2/+2 in vigilance. Like I said, we are running a lot of creatures, so with a lot of high power and toughness. And then we got Zendikar Resurgent. Whenever you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana to your mana pool of any type that land produced, and whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card. So, with Vernal Bloom and this in play, say you tap a forest, you're going to add 3 to your mana pool from that 1 forest, because this adds 1, and then the Vernal Bloom's going to add another green. So there's that. Then we got Rancor. Enchanted creature gets +2/+0 and has trample, and whenever this is put into a graveyard from play, return it to its owner's hand. And then finally, we got Asceticism. Creatures you control can't be the target of spells or ability that your opponents control. So your creatures have hexproof, and then you pay a green and a regular regenerate target creature. So there's that, and I'm going to do another quick skip. I'm just going to kind of organize the creature cards so I can get through the Eldrazi and the others. So, yeah, one moment. Okay, for you guys, that was probably like a second or two, probably 3, because I had to clear my throat just right there. Anyways, for me, it was probably about a minute, but it didn't take long. Anyways, so here's our creatures. So I organized it: utility, big, and Eldrazi. So for our utility creatures, we have Green Warden Marasa. So when he enters the battlefield, return target card from your graveyard to your hand, and then when he dies, you may exile him and do the same thing. Then we got Eternal Witness. Same thing as this, except it doesn't have the exile ability. It's just when this enters the battlefield, you may return target card from your graveyard to your hand. So Green Warden Marasa is like an Eternal Witness, but maybe a little bit better. Depends on what you think. So anyway, we got Verdian Zealot. So pay green and 1 colorless or normal, whatever you want to pay for that. Sack this, destroy target artifact or enchantment. It's just there for the destroying. And then the same thing with Conclave Naturalist. When this enters the battlefield, destroy target artifact or enchantment. And then finally, our last utility creature. Well, last of the main couple. So anyway, when this enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a creature card with converted mana cost 6 or greater. Reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle your library. We have a lot of creatures with converted mana cost 6. So anyway, we got Arbor Colossus, so reach, and then you may Monstrosity 3 by paying 6, and when you do, he destroys target creature with flying and opponent controls. Then we got Oran Reef Hydra, trample, landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a 1/1 counter on him, and if it's a forest, put 2. We got Terastodon, kind of a utility creature. When this enters the battlefield, destroy up to 3 target non-creature permanents, and then for each permanent, the person puts a 3/3 green elephant creature token on the battlefield. Then we got Chancellor of the Tangle. You may reveal this card from your opening hand. If you do at the beginning of your first main phase, add green to your mana pool. So that's kind of good just to add green. So he's a partial utility right there. And then he's got Vigilance and Reach himself. Then we got Spearbreaker Behemoth. So he's indestructible. He costs 7. And then you can pay 1. Target creature with power 5 or greater is indestructible this turn. So that's a lot of your creatures. And we got Ghoul Tree, costs 1 less to cast for each creature card in your graveyard. So he's a 10/10 for 8, so that's quite good, and then he can potentially become cheaper and cheaper. So there's that. And then we got Myojin of Life's Web, so this enters the battlefield with a Divinity counter. If it has a Divinity counter, it's indestructible. And then you may remove a Divinity counter and put any number of creature cards from your hand into play. So it kind of cheats in your bigger creatures and stuff like that. Now there are some creatures to where it says, when you cast this. And I say, if it says, when you cast this, cast it instead of cheating it in with Myojin. Because I learned that the hard way. So anyway, then we got Allosaurus Rider. So you may remove 2 green cards in your hand from the game rather than pay this, his mana cost. So its power and toughness are each equal to 1 plus the number of lands you control. So that counts all lands. It doesn't count just forests, because there are some creatures to where it's just forests. Then we got Ulvenwald Hydra, so reach. The power and toughness are each equal to the number of lands you control, just like Allosaurus Rider. Except with Allosaurus Rider, it gets additional 1/1. So say you have 10 lands, and you have both of these guys out. The Ulvenwald Hydra is going to be a 10/10. Allosaurus Rider is going to be an 11/11. So anyway, when the Ulvenwald Hydra enters battlefield, search your library for a land card. Not just a basic land, but a land. So that's good. Put it on battlefield, tap, shuffle your library. Then we got Terror Stomper, can't be countered, and Trample. So an 8/8 for 6 with all that, that's good. And we got Undergrowth Champion, so if a damage would be dealt to him, well, it has a 1/1 counter on it, prevent and remove 1 landfall, just put a 1/1 counter on him. Then we got Genesis Hydra, so when you cast this, reveal the top X cards of your library. So say you cast it for 10 and X was 8, you reveal 8 cards. And then you may put a non-land permanent card with converted mana cost X or less from among them onto the battlefield, then shuffle the rest into your library. And then he enters the battlefield with that many 1/1 counters on him. Then we got Managorger Hydra, trample. Whenever a player casts a spell, put a 1/1 counter on him. Then Outline Colossus can be blocked by more than 1 creature, renowned for 6. And now on to our Eldrazi. We got Endless One, enters battlefield with X 1/1 counters on it. Matter Reshaper. When this dies, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a permanent card with converted mana cost 3 or less, you put it on the battlefield. Otherwise, put that card into your hand. Then Kozilek's Channeler. Add 2 to your mana pool. Conduit of Ruin. When you cast this, search your library for a colorless creature card with converted mana cost 7 or greater. Shuffle your library and put that card on top of it. First creature spell you cast costs each 2 less. Then we got Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger. So when you cast him, exile 2 target permanents, indestructible, and whenever he attacks defending player, exile top 20 cards. We got Endbringer, so he untaps during each other player's untap step. So you can tap him, deal 1 damage to target creature or player. Target creature can't attack or block this turn, or pay 2 colorless, draw a card. And all those little symbols are colorless. So there's that. And we got Oblivion Sour. So when you cast him, target opponent exiles top 4 cards of his or her library. Then you put any number of land cards that player owns from exile onto the battlefield under your control. And that's any number of lands. So say they have like 24 cards in exile because you hit them with an Ulamog, and then you play this, you can put all the lands that are in there. So say they have 10 lands, you can put all 10 lands. And we got Eldrazi Devastator, 8/9 with Trample for 8. Then Breaker of Armies, he's a 10/8. All creatures able to block him this turn do so. Or not this turn, but able to block him do so. Then we got Bane of Bala Ged, so whenever he attacks, defending player exiles 2 permanents he or she controls. Void Winnower, such an evil guy in Commander. Just such an evil guy. Your opponents can't cast spells with even converted mana costs, and your opponents can't block with creatures with even converted mana costs. So that's evil. We got Desolation Twin, so he's a 10/10 for 10, but when he enters, put another 10/10. So basically a 20/20 for 10. Divided up between 2 creatures. Then we got It That Betrays, Annihilator 2. Whenever an opponent sacks a non-creature permanent, put that card into the battlefield under your control. Then we got Pathrazer of Ulamog, Annihilator 3. When he can't be blocked except by 3 or more creatures this turn, or 3 or more creatures at all times. Ulamog's Crusher, he attacks each turn of Fable, and he's got Annihilator 2. He's an 8/8 for 8. And then we got World Breaker. So Devoid, when you cast World Breaker, exile target artifact or enchantment or land, reach, pay 2, and a colorless, sack a land, return them from your graveyard to your hand. And then finally our last creature, Kozilek, the Great Distortion. So when he is cast, if you have fewer than 7 cards in hand, draw the difference. So you have 1 card in hand, draw 6. And he's got Menace, and discard a card with converted mana cost X, counter target spell with converted mana cost X. So yeah, that's that's mine, not our. So anyway, that's my commander, Patron of the Orochi. People always play Patron of the Orochi, and they throw snakes in so they can cast them at instant speed. I just have him as the commander so I can help cast my bigger drop creatures and stuff for the mana ramp. Anyways, I hope you all enjoy and have a great day. Bye.